In the last episode, we stood on the banks of the Euphrates at Mazar. We witnessed the Battle of the River, where the arrogance of the Persian Empire was drowned in mud and blood. The general Kareen, a man whose equipment alone was worth 100,000 dirhams, fell dead before the main battle even began. Khalid bin Walid has now destroyed 2 imperial armies. He has captured Uballa, the gateway to India. The Muslims are no longer raiders, they are conquerors. But in the capital city of Ctesiphon, the mood has shifted from anger to existential terror. The Emperor Yazdigerd III realizes that sending armies one by one is suicide. He decides to change the game. He will no longer fight Khalid with strength alone. He will fight him with geometry. The empire is mobilizing not 1, but 2 massive armies. They are designing a trap to crush the sword of Allah. Welcome to the Battle of Walaja. Welcome to the masterpiece. May 633 AD. The Persian court is paralyzed by shock. The barefoot lizard-eaters have destroyed the imperial guard. Emperor Yazdigerd III issues a general mobilization. He summons Andarzaghar, a veteran governor of the frontier. Unlike the previous generals, Andarzaghar grew up fighting Arabs. He knows their speed, he knows their tactics, and he knows he cannot defeat Khalid alone. The Persian plan is brutal in simplicity. Andarzaghar will march his army to Walaja, a location where the Tigris and Euphrates narrow, creating a natural choke point. He will dig in. He will be the bait. While meanwhile, a second army, led by the legendary general Bahman, will march south from Ctesiphon. The plan is for Andarzaghar to lure Khalid into a stalemate. Once Khalid is pinned, Bahman will arrive from the north, crash into the Muslim flank, and crush them against the river. It is the classic hammer and anvil strategy. The race against time. Khalid's intelligence network was flawless. His scouts picked up the movement of the 2 Leviathans immediately. Khalid saw the trap. He knew that if these 2 armies united, their combined mass would be unstoppable. The math was against him. Most generals would retreat to the desert. Khalid did the opposite. He decided to race. He gathered his commanders and said, "We must strike the first enemy before the second can tie his sandals." He pushed his men to the breaking point. They ignored the second army of Bahman completely and sprinted across the scorching terrain to intercept Andarzaghar at Walaja. It was a gamble. If he was too slow, he would be encircled and annihilated. If he was fast enough, he could destroy them piecemeal. Pause for a moment. Khalid is intentionally marching his army into a position where he could be trapped between 2 superior forces. This violates the standard military rule of never divide your force in the face of a superior enemy. But Khalid is banking on speed over mass. If you were in Khalid's shoes, would you risk everything on a race, or would you retreat to the desert to fight a guerrilla war? Let me know your strategy in the comments below. And if you want to see how this gamble pays off, make sure you are subscribed. Khalid wins the race. He arrives at Walaja before the second Persian army, but Andarzaghar is ready. He has chosen his ground with the eye of a master. He deploys his army on a flat plain with a ridge of hills protecting his rear. To the Persian general, this ridge is a safety measure. It prevents the Arabs from attacking him from behind. It forces the battle to be a head-on collision, where the heavy Persian armor will have the advantage.
Andarzaghar looks at the smaller, dust-covered Muslim force and smiles. He is reported to have said, "Let them come. They are like flies flying into a web. The more they struggle, the tighter we shall bind them." He has 50,000 men. Khalid has roughly 15,000. But what Andarzaghar sees as a safety ridge, Khalid sees as an opportunity. Khalid looks at the terrain, he looks at the ridge blocking the Persian retreat, and in his mind, a plan begins to form. A plan so audacious that it had only been successfully executed once before in history, as Hannibal at Cannae, almost 1,000 years earlier. The night before the battle, Khalid makes his move. He takes his two most trusted cavalry commanders, Busr and Sa'id, and gives them 4,000 horsemen. This is nearly half of Khalid's cavalry. His orders are specific and terrifying. They are to ride wide, far around the Persian flanks, using the darkness and the gullies to stay invisible. They are to position themselves behind the ridge at the rear of the Persian army. Khalid tells them, "Do not show yourselves, not when the battle starts, not when the swords clash. Wait until the enemy believes he has won. Wait for my signal." By dawn, 4,000 Muslim horsemen have vanished into the landscape. When the sun rises, the Persians look across the field. They see Khalid's army. It looks dangerously small. The center looks thin. The flanks look weak. It is exactly what Khalid wants them to see. The battle begins. The collision is deafening. The heavy Persian infantry, clad in chainmail and carrying tall rectangular shields, crashes into the lighter Muslim line. For the Muslims, this is a test of pure endurance. They are outmatched in weight and numbers. They fight with spears and swords against a wall of iron. Andarzaghar watches from his command post. He sees the Muslim line bending back. He sees them giving ground. To him, it looks like the Arabs are breaking. He orders his wings to swing inward. He commits his reserves. He wants to crush the center. He pushes his men forward, crowding them together, shoulder to shoulder, compressing his own army to deliver the final blow. He is doing exactly what Khalid wants. He is turning his army into a dense, immobile block, and he has forgotten to look at the hills behind him.
The trap is set. The Persians are fully committed. They are squeezing the Muslim center, convinced that victory is seconds away. Khalid raises his sword, and from behind the ridge a sound emerges that freezes the blood of the Persian rear guard. Not the wind, but the thunder of 4,000 hooves. The jaws of the trap are about to snap. In military history, there is a moment known as the psychological dislocation. It is the precise second when an army realizes it has been outsmarted. For the Sassanid army at Walaja, that moment comes now. From behind the ridge, the 4,000 horsemen of the Muslim ambush force do not just charge, they descend like an avalanche. The thunder of hooves drowns out the clash of swords. Sa'id bin Mara charges from the left. Busr bin Abi Raham charges from the right. They crash into the exposed Persian rear with the force of a tidal wave. The Persian rear guard, thinking they were safe, is decimated in seconds. Simultaneously, Khalid signals his center. The retreat stops. The Muslim infantry, who had been stepping back, suddenly plant their feet in the sand, lock their shields, and push forward. The trap is closed. The hunters have become the prey. What happens next is a study in the physics of slaughter. Khalid has executed the perfect double envelopment.
The Persian army is now surrounded on 360 degrees. This creates a phenomenon known as compression. As the Muslims press in from the front, rear, and flanks, the Persian soldiers instinctively back away from the steel. They step back into their own comrades. The army becomes a dense, suffocating mob. The sources tell us the crowding was so intense that Persian soldiers in the center couldn't even lift their arms to swing their swords. They were pinned by the bodies of their own men. Panic spreads like a virus. Discipline evaporates. The heavy cataphracts, the pride of the empire, are pulled off their horses and butchered. The infantry trample each other, trying to escape a circle that has no exit. It is no longer a battle, it is a meat grinder. History buffs often call the Battle of Cannae the greatest tactical masterpiece ever, where Hannibal destroyed the Romans. But here, Khalid bin Walid executes the exact same maneuver, encircling a larger force with a smaller one, without the benefit of the terrain Hannibal had. I want to hear from the strategists in the comments. Which maneuver do you think was more impressive, Hannibal at Cannae or Khalid at Walaja? Pause the video and let me know. Now, let's witness the end of the tyrant. The killing lasts until sunset. The Sassanid army is not just defeated, it is deleted. But what of Andarzaghar, the man who boasted he would trap Khalid like a fly in a web? He manages to break out with a small bodyguard during the chaos. He flees towards the desert, hoping to circle back to Ctesiphon. But Khalid's strategy was not just about steel, it was about geography. He had forced the Persians to fight on the edge of the desolation. Andarzaghar loses his way. His water runs out. The desert, which he had failed to respect, claims him. The sources record a grim end. The great general of the empire does not die by the sword. He dies of thirst, alone, hallucinating in the sand, while the vultures circle overhead. Khalid stands on the battlefield of Walaja. He has destroyed 3 imperial armies in a row, but as he wipes the blood from his blade, his scouts bring him news that freezes the celebration. The Christian Arabs are not done. They are gathering again, and this time they are not gathering for victory, they are gathering for revenge. They are meeting at a place called Ulais, and they have sworn a blood oath to wipe out the Muslims. Khalid is about to make a vow of his own, a vow so dark, so terrifying, that it will name the next battle for all eternity, the Red River. Subscribe to the House of Wisdom. Next week, we witness the darkest day of the conquest.